Secret Hitler, Communist, The Expansion is an unofficial expansion to the hidden identity game that takes place in pre-World War II Germany. At the beginning of the game, players are divided into 3 teams. Most players will be liberals. Their job is to keep the government together and prevent Hitler from taking power. But some players will be fascists. Their goal is to take over the government and install Secret Hitler as Chancellor. Even fewer players will be communists, and their goal is to infiltrate the government, sabotaging the liberals, and then assassinate Hitler. After roles have been dealt, there will be a brief night phase for the fascists to meet their teammates and find out who Hitler is. But Hitler won't know the identities of the other fascists. But they will know the identity of the communists. Communists will also meet each other during this phase. After the night phase, select a player at random to be the first president. In Secret Hitler, Communist, the Expansion, teams race to complete their agenda before the other teams. The fascists and communists need to enact 6 of their policies to complete their agenda and win the game, and liberals need to enact 5 liberal policies. Each round, the table will elect a president and a chancellor together as a ticket. First, the president nominates another player to be chancellor. The whole table then votes on this new proposed government. If the vote fails, the president loses the opportunity to be elected, and the presidential placard moves clockwise. If a government is successfully elected, the president and chancellor must enact a new policy card. Policy cards are either liberal, fascist, or communist, and they come from a deck that has 11 fascist policies, 11 communist policies, and 6 liberal policies. In order to enact a new policy, the president draws 3 policies from the policy deck, looks at them in secret, discards one face down, and passes the other 2 to the chancellor. The chancellor also discards one face down and enacts the remaining policy card face up. If the government enacts a liberal card, the liberals are 1 step closer to holding the government together. However, if the president and chancellor enact a fascist or communist card, you must try to figure out what went wrong. Perhaps the president and chancellor are liberals and they received a bad draw. Or perhaps a fascist infiltrated the government and discarded a liberal policy in secret. Players are free to lie about almost anything in the game, so the president and the chancellor can't be trusted. Sometimes, the chancellor and president won't even agree about what they've seen. It's up to the other players to find out which player is telling the truth and which one is a cold-blooded fascist. When a new fascist policy is passed, the government becomes more powerful. Even the liberals will be tempted to pass fascist policies to investigate players' party memberships, meddle with elections, and execute other players. But when a new communist policy is passed, the government becomes more chaotic and will allow communists to expose the policy deck, increase voting tension, and snoop around other players' party memberships. If a player is able to gain an execution power and assassinate Hitler, their team immediately wins the game. However, if you miss your shot and kill too many liberals, the liberals will lose control of the government. And if too many communist policies have been passed, a communist who's elected chancellor can execute another player and recruit a liberal to join their team. The clock is ticking. Can you find your allies and forge the bonds of trust necessary to stem the rising tide of fascism? Or will the communists infiltrate your ranks and steal the power for themselves? Can you steer the government along the narrow path, taking only as much power as you need and pull back from the brink of war? Can you find and stop the secret Hitler?